toward the one, the perfection of love, harmony, and beauty, the only being, united with all the illuminated souls who form the embodiment of the Master, the Spirit of Guidance. And I thought I would take some time to go through some of Murshid Sam's commentaries on this subject of Fikr, from the esoteric teachings of Hazrat Inayat Khan, and just to give a flavor of Murshid Sam's being here. I'm not going to read it all word for word. I'm going to just read some of the passages that I have marked. But so relax, I mean, this is a time to take in some teachings. We've been really focused. I appreciate the way people bring their dedication and devotion and attention to our practice. This is beautiful and intense work that we're doing. It's important for each one of us to do it in our own way, which means to say, to thee do we give willing surrender, not unwilling surrender, which we're going to give anyway at some point. So just to be prudent, willing surrender, so what we actually do. Gita, these are the words of Hazrat Inayat Khan. This is the first paper in the series 2 lessons on esotericism, for those of you familiar with the Gitas. The breath is the current that is established between all planes of man's existence. Its current runs from the life unseen to the life on the surface, thus uniting spirit and matter both. Tasawwuf, these are the words of Sufi Ahmed Murad Chishti, Murshid Samuel Lewis. If one studies the words for breath in the ancient languages, one will find they are mostly identical with soul. Thus, Atma in Sanskrit means both breath and soul, and Nefesh, which is usually translated from the Hebrew language as soul, also means breath. The Greek word psyche has been translated as soul and as breath, really that portion of the breath associated with nafs, or the ego. The Hebrew word ruach, which is often called spirit or wind, is the same as the Arabic ruh, which we call soul. Now there are various conceptions to soul and also to breath, and today there's no tendency to identify them. Yet the Sufi would say that the breath is a current by which the soul gives the life to the body. The breath is a current by which the soul gives life to the body. This current travels with the air element, and in its lowest aspect depends upon the gas oxygen. And every movement of breath is accompanied by a chemical process of some oxidation. The study of breath reveals its relationship to thought, speech, and action. All are dependent upon it. One can stop the breath also and lose consciousness. It is then that the consciousness ceases to function in the body and in the mind, showing that the breath must pass through both of them. When you develop to a certain point, you are able, by means of the refined breath, to reach a state of realization which frees you from dependence upon mind and body, and then you can use mind and body as vehicles and tools. That's what Murshid had to say about that first sentence. So you can see the commentaries, are intended to be a whole body of study. But I just want us to, respect them and to call our attention to them, and because there's a lot of ways in which he takes the wisdom of his teacher and brings it in a way that some people can receive it more clearly. Here again, back to the words of Inayat Khan. When the breath leaves the material being of man, then comes what man calls death, which shows that breath is the sign of life and life itself, and its contact with the body keeps the body alive, and its contact with the mind keeps the mind alive. tasawwuf. St. Paul has said, I die daily. And yet, in a certain sense, one dies with every exhalation. If you expel all the breath from the body, you will find it most difficult to speak or move or think. As soon as the breath is brought back, these functions come naturally and simply. And yet it is possible, through the exhalation, to rid the body of poisons and the mind of unwholesome thoughts. When this process is properly carried out, it is called safa, or purification, which is needed by all students of mysticism. It is possible to overcome death while living upon earth by the proper study and control of the breath current. If one can let go of oneself with each exhalation, it becomes easier to receive the divine light with each inhalation. And that is what he means when he says you die with every breath. You know, you let go of oneself with each exhalation. And that is leads us to the main Sufi breath practice, which is the zikr. Breathing out, la ilaha, and then that is literally la, no, ilaha, God, la ilaha, no God. Huh? No, nothing that asserts its identity endures. Nothing stands alone. Everything is the result of some dependent causation. The whole slate is clean. It's emptiness, really. La ilaha. In essence, nothing exists because it has no permanent nature. So that allows us to say that must include this idea that I have of myself, and all my concepts and all my stuff is empty. The stuff that is transient, that is poisoning me, that is unwholesome, I'm offering it up as I breathe out, la ilaha. And as I breathe in, Elallahu, I am affirming, except Allah, who is present, except the one who has no beginning and no end. Whether you call it Allah, or Elohim, or Allah, or Allah, or Zat, or Yahuwah, or whatever you call that. You call it that, Tat. Tat Vamasi, thou art that. Atman is Brahman, we call it Brahman, but we call it a lot of names, but that is what is real. It has many names, but only one essence, which is eternal, unborn, undying, the absolute nature of all that is. So that we affirm that reality. And in doing so, we affirm the reality of our soul, because our soul is an undivided portion, as Hazrat Khan puts it, of that eternal reality. Not a divided portion, like, okay, we got one little teaspoon of the ocean here. No, it's an undivided portion of it, in the sense of it's like it experiences itself as a ray, which you can say, well, a ray of the sun is just one little spoonful out of the ocean, but no, but the ray is nothing but the sun. You see, if the ray travels back to its source and knows what its reality is, it's nothing but sun. And so, so that's the metaphor that we can use to the extent we need one, of our soul. It's undivided. It's articulated, it's individuated, it comes to a kind of a purpose of, in this incarnation, in this manifestation, They're qualities that it needs. They're lessons it came to experience to awaken, some pleasant, some unpleasant, and so on, that it's been drawn into. But it is never separated from Source, though it experiences itself as separated. So this is at the level of metaphysics, but at the level of just getting it, and of letting your heart reach that truth and understand it. That's where mysticism begins. We have to somehow have the knowledge to be able to allow our heart to really give itself fully to that. And so let's just take a moment here in this practice to do this fikr of the zikr, in which we let go of self, we let go of our fears, we let go of we can just start letting go of all the stuff that we don't want. And we don't want to, we'd like to have emptied in our being as we breathe out. You don't have to begin with entering and giving up your whole, dying before death with each breath. And that's, in cosmic sense, Murshid spoke of. But just begin, as we exhale, la ilaha, a letting go of purifying, letting go of what we want to release. And then, as we inhale, el Allahu, two, from that emptiness, from that place of being empty and surrendered, we draw into our being the light, of the essence of our soul. I'm going to just continue a little more with this. As Murshid said, it's possible to overcome death while living upon earth by proper study and control of the breath current. If one can let go of oneself with each exhalation, it becomes easier to receive the divine light with each inhalation. Gita, but neither body nor mind is life. If there is any sign of life we can trace on the surface, it is no other than the breath. I'm going to skip some of this commentary here. Also, they make it a means of sending what they wish from the life external to the life within. So the breath is not only a means of drawing from the inner world and offering it to the external world, but also of drawing a means of sending what they wish from the life external to the life within. You know, that beauty that we see, that love that we experience, that communion with nature that we experience in the depth of our being. We are returning to the source of all being, this perfection that source wanted to experience in the pre-eternity when God falls in love with all the possibilities in God's self and manifests through beings. And as beings we are, we bring our experience here of manifestation that has touched our soul with a sense of perfection. That is the way God is experiencing herself in a fresh way, always new. Each breath. Although even Christ himself I'm going to skip some of this. Okay. Murshid, now here, this is the part I wanted to get to because it's interesting to, and we're going to do that same practice we just did, but turn it around. Murshid says, the breath is a highway that can bring anything to a person, not only health and strength, but even worldly wealth. If he or she has the concentration and does not merely wish or desire, for the power of the desire nature is limited, while one who has the mastery of breath has control over the forces of the lower planes and can exercise it without difficulty. Meditation, concentration, and spiritual practices in general help to remove the obstacles from one's path. It's not that one should seek wealth, but one should see that nothing outside blocks their path. By the exhalation, one can bestow blessings upon the world. Now, just before he said by the exhalation, you can remove poisons from your system and unwholesome thoughts and, even your own, you can die to your sense of self, the false self. You can let go of yourself. And, it's all about letting go of things that aren't serving you. And now he says, by the exhalation, one can bestow blessings upon the world. One can draw down that which is in the worlds within, offering yourself as a channel for manifestation. This is true of many people who do not know about breath, who don't know much about it. They still are vehicles in this way because that's the way the reality works. Kindness and compassion depend upon our ability to give out, to surrender. And for this purpose, one must also be able to have a full exhalation and not being attached even to the breath. So, I'm saying, okay, so So now instead of breathing out La ilaha, we would be well, there's two ways of doing it. One is rather who are those people? The people that the contrarians. The Murshid had anyway, it'll occur to me. One of the dervish orders, the contrarians, and if you give them a practice, they'll do it the other way, you know. And the Kalandari. Kalandaris like to just whatever the rule is would go the other way, but this in this sense, if one were to inhale La ilaha and exhale El Allahu. And in the inhaling of the La ilaha, what you're doing is you are wiping clear all of the impressions that are on your soul. You know, you're just saying La ilaha, these don't truly exist. All these impressions, all this stuff that I look at life through, it's like I have this pure lens that is covered over with all these streaks of this and that, you know, places where I can see through, places where I can't, you know. This is, that La ilaha we're breathing in then is annihilating, is wiping clear all of those impressions that are obscuring our inner light of being. And so then now when we exhale El Allahu, we are just simply coming from that source of being with livingness and light. The other way of doing it would be just having done the full La ilaha illallahu zikr, you would just then do breathing Allahu or Hu, or even El Allahu, but leaving out the La ilaha. But the zikr means, in essence, only God exists. All the rest of it is metaphysics. You know, essentially only God is. If you know, so we have to erase something from our concept to get there. So that's why we start with La ilaha. So we're going to breathe in. Let's try it doing it that way and see what your experience is. Breathing in La ilaha, wiping clear, using that power of wiping clear all that is transient, that is standing over the light of your soul in the globe of the heart. And then as you exhale, let that light shine on all your connections of feeling in your life. Any questions or comments on these practices? Yes.
That was really different.
It was, wasn't it? I felt
seat,
it different.
It felt like the seat of the source was here rather than out there. I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah, because you're coming from the source of your soul's
Right.
light, which is not separate from that light, but you experience it inward, and we have this mistaken idea of God being outside of ourselves, even though, Jesus says it's all within. Quran says, I'm nearer to you than the jugular vein, in your neck, and so on. What did anybody else have to say about that?
I felt like it was like this big broom just cleaning everything clean, and then this light would come in. And that's really wonderful.
Yeah, I was surprised too. I never really done that before. I mean, I actually did. I gave this practice to a murid a number of years ago. I mean, not this one, but the regular practice that I gave you at the beginning. And then I spoke to her a number of years later because she'd been living somewhere else, and practicing. She'd been doing it just the way we just had done it. She'd had it, just reversed, and so, but she'd had a great result with it. So I said, oh, okay, well, colander. But yeah, I found it surprisingly fresh. So that's another way of going about it, because the main thing is to overcome our confusion about dualism, because we're very confused because a lot of our experience confirms dualism, and so to live in a spirit of oneness means, thou art that, and that is, but that is not, the ego immediately says, yeah, that's what I always wanted, was to be that, just give me everything, sorry, that, is not what you get, what you get is, you get that when you give up of your idea of, this. I think that's all I read. I just want to go back to this key phrase at the very end of this paper of Hazrat Inayat Khan's words. The Sufi's object being self-realization by the ideal of God. He or she works for its attainment by the means of the breath, which is called fikr, and an ideal so attained becomes one's property, one's kingdom forever. The Sufi's object being realization by the ideal of God. What does that mean, by the ideal of God? It means by working with our process of imagining perfection, of imagining beauty, of imagining the infinite, of idealizing, imagining, idealizing, of having an ideal of it, because by our, that puts us into relationship with it as an active force. So we have an idea of a being who has no beginning and no end. Okay? Our ideas have beginnings and ends, but we have an idea of a being that has no beginning and end. That's extraordinary. And that power of idealization, which is inherent in the nature of our soul, of our reality, is the vehicle by unleashing that and working in communion with that, we evolve this God, as we say, the evolution of the God ideal. Because the whole study begins with, kind of beginning fresh with how we imagine God to be, starting fresh, you know, not just what's been laid on you about it, but starting fresh and saying, okay, I want to find this. I want to find what do I find beautiful? What would I be willing to surrender to? What do I trust? What qualities would this have? You know, I mean, we have to, I mean, how can I imagine it in relation to me? All of these things are something that we have to do, and we have to clear the deck of all the things that we've been told that are making us feel unworthy, unable to have such an experience. The Sufi's object being self-realization by the ideal of God. Self-realization, that's how you find your own self, because you're working in this way with the perfections that you are idealizing, and in that process you find them to be the realities of your own self. So, I mean, using the divine qualities is a good way to illustrate this, because they are inherent in us, but they are dormant. They're sleeping, they're unawakened, they're partially awakened, they're awakened. They're in all, the different qualities are in different states of being within us. And yet, they are our real self if we can invoke them, get in touch with, I mean, say, okay, I mean, what's missing in me is courage, or what's missing in me is forgiveness, or what's missing in me is power, or whatever, I mean, instead of saying what's missing in me, it's like, what could I imagine would be a quality of perfection that would meet this sense of what's missing in me. And then then I say, oh yeah, well, how about Allahu Akbar? God is great. As God's greatness overcomes my fear. Now I'm imagining this, and I'm invoking this, and I'm giving this reality to this, maybe something we imagine outside of ourselves, but still what I'm saying, in that sense, because it is inherent in our soul, I am coming to self-realization. If I wake it up and I make it active in my life, I've now become an active force of love, of power, of forgiveness, of protection, of trust, of whatever, the qualities we'd like to be. They are truly ourself. I picked one of those things that somebody did many years ago, sayings of Hazrat Khan, put it in that bowl there to pick in them. Picked one, and it said, it was something to this effect. I have to paraphrase it. I left it out there, but I don't know if it's still out there. Maybe it is. Yeah, here it is. No, that's not it. I must have put it back in. This is all that I can manage in life, I take as my responsibility, but all that I cannot manage, I leave to God. But what the one I said was, it's not that every soul seeks happiness or should seek happiness because that happiness is what would sustain them. It's because that search for happiness is just the search for your real self. Your real essence is happiness. And that's what I'm saying here. Our real essence is joy, our real essence is love, power, all these divine qualities are our real essence. We're seeking them outside of ourselves, but in the seeking, we have a hard time seeking it inside of ourselves because we're full of all this crap, right? So how can we see through the crap to get to the essence? So we imagine a reality. I mean, even if it's a placebo, you see, you imagine a reality that has these qualities in perfection that you are in relation to in a state of the beloved. And in that, so doing, it wakes them up, because it's real, you see. But you have to kind of dance around it to get it. So that's what he means, I think, when he says that it's the object being self-realization. Your real self is the perfection of your soul. The soul, it's his main teaching is not it's the soul which sees. If you want to develop insight into life, look at it from the vantage point of your soul. So if breath and soul have a similar meaning, all this work that we're doing with breath must have some hidden purpose of making us more and more aware of our soul and identifying more and more with the soul. And as we say, God is the breath, or God is in the breath, or the Holy Spirit in the breath, as we identify with that and we self-identify in that way with this flow, then we awaken a self that can draw, from source in a natural way, in an ongoing way. And that's our goal in life, is to become like that. So this is a good, yeah.
I have a question along those lines. So then, in terms of Wazifah and that kind of identification, it sounds like that there's a mapping there, I guess, to just be maybe just a little bit more conscious of those. It's another way of connecting, it sounds like, with what you're talking about.
Yeah, it is, but you say it again in your words, how it would be.
Well, I guess it's like, however you have to go to make it real, right? I
Yeah.
mean, whether it's, you're saying Wali over and over again,
Yeah.
How do you, have that become real or how do I make it become real? And it seems like that the process that you're talking about is also part of that same
Making it real.
making it real.
Yeah.
But it's also these qualities or these aspects that are easy to think are outside or hard to fully identify with.
Or that we don't have, oh yeah. Well, I didn't get those in my lifetime. I didn't get the ability to do this. I only got this one, Well, it's too bad for me. I look at so-and-so. They always have all this intimacy. I never got that, whatever. But yeah, so I mean, we have to overcome this, confusion that we have around who we are. And that is part of the spiritual path. And you can look at it as a purification of the nafs, or you can look at it as an affirmation of the real, because the purification is really a letting go of that which isn't truly real. It's transient and passing. Our own creation, yes. We're going to take just a few of the different Wazifah, the different qualities, things that are have somewhat different resonances, will be more appropriate for some people than others, no doubt, and that's in terms of their own practice. But for now, we're going to experience them in a very this way. We're going to just do the Wazifah aloud 33 times, or the pair of Wazifahs, and then we're going to do it as a breath practice, as a fikr, in which we carry the name on the breath, and we consider that quality, that embodiment of God in that quality is in that sound, in that vibration, in that thought. And we just swing that with the breath in different ways. The first one that we're going to do will help those of you that are getting a little drowsy.
Oh, great.
Now, of course, that comes from having such wonderful food in Prague.
Bravo, bravo.
That was such an elegant meal, I believe. It was, I mean, so beautiful. When I looked at my plate, you know,
Did you see it?
No, I could see a lot of beautiful food in different colors, prepared with so much love. It was really prashad, but you know, I only had one helping, which is that's because I knew I didn't want to get drowsy. Well, yeah, right. So I mean, but it's so good it's tempting. We want to wake. We want to relax and be awake at the same time, and quicken our awareness. And so we're going to do a practice of let's do it this way because I spoke that way. Let's just do the practice of Ya Alim. I won't do it, and then later I'm going to. Then next we're going to pair it in a certain way, and that'll be interesting. But right now we're going to just do Ya Alim, which means God's omniscience. God is all-knowing, and we connect this with the third eye center. You might want to pull that door closed now just to break off some of the street noise.
Is it Alim or Alim?
A-L-I-M, Alim. And with the emphasis on the second syllable, the E sound that you particularly feel in the third eye center.
I think that's me, sorry.
Jesus is on the main line.
Yeah, Jesus on the main line.
Okay.
Tell him hello.
Jesus, won't you come by here? Jesus, won't you come by here? Jesus, won't you come by here? Now it is the healing time. Oh, now it is the healing time. Jesus, won't you come by here? Okay, we won't go through the whole thing. Realize souls. That's good. It's good for a road
What do you
trip.
have to say?
Thank you, Jesus.
Good. Okay, so we're going to A-L-I-M, Alim, sounds like A-L-E-E-M, Alim. And we'll do it first, just saying it, then we'll intone it in the third eye, really vibrating it in the third eye, and then we will refine our breath and go into our breath and breathe it in and out of the third eye center. Alim, in and out. And while, and then at a certain point, I will indicate that, after a few minutes of just sitting in the fikr of it, allow permission for some people at a time to begin to just, when they feel so moved, to walk, breathing the Wazifah and walking around the room. So for that, then, we'll make the space such that people can easily walk. But you don't have to bring your feet in yet. So is that clear? We're gonna use this Wazifah. It's to bring alive knowingness, knowledge, awareness. It has all these great faculties. This word is mentioned more than any other in all its forms in the Quran. The nature of God is Alim, and all-knowing. So we're going to just take this quality of God's knowingness as an inherent quality in our soul, and we're invoking it first just in recognition and devotion to God. So we're saying, Ya Alim, Ya Alim, Ya Alim, Ya Alim. We'll elongate later. Ya Alim, 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 Ya Alim. Now we're going to intone it and make the sound vibrate in the third eye, accentuating the E sound like so. Ya Alim, Ya Alim. Feel it in the third eye, don't just sing it, vibrate it. Placing your awareness in the third eye. Nice, long, refined breath in and out of the third eye center, intoning Alim silently on the breath, letting it swing with the breath in and out, and the breath like a laser beam of awareness in the third eye as you exhale through the third eye. Keep refining the breath. Let the center hold this magnetism. Hold your awareness there. Whenever you drift, come right back to there. Nice, long, rhythmic, refined breath in the center. And those that are really fully established in this, a few at a time, just get up and take 3 or 4 circuits around the room, maintaining your breath in the third eye and continuing to breathe Alim at the same time. Another way to avoid drowsiness is open your eyes. Another way is turn your glance upward toward the third eye. And another way is what we're doing right now. It's only a side effect. You want to be able to walk without losing for a moment your groundedness in the third eye. So you might want to start walking slower and then building up speed as you get confident in maintaining the concentration. No compulsion here. You don't have to get up and walk, but if you wish to, now's a good time to do so. Okay, good. Excellent. Now we're going to combine Ya Alim with Ya Hakim. Hakim means divine wisdom. So we want to draw from knowledge the wisdom which is discerning and healing. We need to be able to discern what we need to cut through in this life and see clearly, and we also need to use our knowledge to heal, and so that's bringing that into the heart. So Alim will be in the third eye, and Hakim will be in the heart. So when we begin the Fikr practice, we'll breathe into the third eye with the Ya Alim, and out through the heart with the Ya Hakim, the flow of divine wisdom. And the goal in the concentration is to bring mind and heart together. And so that you can bring this knowledge in the head center right into the feeling nature where it lives in a more complete way, and which the heart nature and the Hakim aspect will allow for us to see how to draw what's wise forward to manifestation. So let's do, we'll just do the practice verbally 33 times. Ya Alim, Ya Hakim, feeling the Alim in the third eye, the Hakim in the heart, and then we'll go right into the Fikr and proceed just as we did now. But then once you really get a sense of the balance of heart and head and bringing this energy together in the Fikr, then we'll again begin the walking process. So here we go. Ya Alim, Ya Hakim. Ya Alim, Ya Hakim, 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 Ya Alim, Hakim, Ya Alim, Ya 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 Hakim. Once more. Ya Alim, Ya Hakim. Continuing on the breath, inhaling Ya Alim into the third eye, breathing Ya Hakim out through the heart center. We'll do this for a while and then gradually feeling how this energy in the head migrates into the heart so that it becomes a oneness in this sphere. Anyone who's ready to do this as a walking practice, a few of you, welcome to get up. What's always interesting when you're doing practices like this in a group and you're working with your breath and others are walking is to tune into the people that are walking and to feel connected in your breath with what they're doing. And sometimes when you do that, you get something, and sometimes you offer something through that connection. When I was walking, I noticed the Sufi symbol up here, and I thought, now that's the perfect way to get this union of Alim and Hakim. You see, if you're looking at the star and you're breathing Ya Alim, and you are the crescent receiving this, you see, and then you breathe, and it's right within the heart, you see. So you're bringing you just look at it for a minute and try this as a concentration where you're concentrating on the Sufi symbol, but your eyes are focused right there on the heart and the crescent and star, and you breathing Alim in the star and Hakim in the heart. Amen. So any questions or comments about this or about the difference between what you experienced in Alim or Alim Hakim?
I was more balanced than when I went into my heart. I was more balanced.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I felt a lot of joy in Hakim.
Yeah, me too. Brought it into the realm of happiness. Yeah. Wow. Okay, let's see, what did I have in mind doing next? Yeah, okay. I don't want to get people too far out there. So we're going to do not Alim, but Azim. Azim, we did in the dance, yeah, Azim, only we're going to do it with the classical Arabic pronunciation with the Z is a DH sound. So it's yeah, Azim, Azim, Azim. You want to feel it really vibrating right in your body and your skeletal structure. Ya Azim, Ya Azim, Ya Azim, Ya Azim, Ya Azim, Ya Azim. Eyes open. Ya Azim. Ya Azim, Ya Azim, Ya Azim, do it faster. Ya Azim, 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 Ya Azim. Ya Azim, 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 Azim, Ya 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 Azim. Continuing to inhale and exhale, Ya Azim, feeling omnipresence. God is an infinite presence, beginning right here with my skeleton. So feel that breath penetrating your bones, your flesh and bones, the marrow of your bones, and all reality. Open your eyes at least a little bit during this. You may find when you're walking that you want to do the Fikr like Azim, 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 Azim with the breath rather than trying to make the one sound go with the whole breath. It's a really good practice because now we want to see how much we can really feel it right in our body, right in our physical presence here. Okay, thanks. Any comments on this? Questions?
I always have trouble grounding, and it was really helpful. And I just felt, I did feel it much more in my bones and I'm used to feeling.
Yeah, I think it does help with grounding and feeling things right here in the bones in the body, because a lot of people that are really intellectual and head-oriented, aren't so inclusive there, all the time. And so I think it's a really good practice, and particularly if we get too out there, because a couple of people have told me I got really spaced out at the end of the class. I even forgot things I would never forget, So so that sort of thing, this is good. Come right back here, it's all right here. It's very present. Let's sing. May all beings be well. May all beings be well. May all beings be happy. Let's say the healing prayer. Beloved Lord, Almighty God, through the rays of the sun, through the waves of the air, through the all-pervading life in space, purify and revivify us, and we pray, heal our bodies, hearts, and souls.
I just want to say that I felt like levitating.
Ah.
And then the phrase, a feather on the breath of God came to me. And I can't jump around, but it just felt like I could rise out of my chair. It was very nice.
Thank you. Yeah, it was very beautiful. I'm happy the way people just, did what they had to do.
Such variety we had.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's just,